document.
You're kidding.
Nope. Get ready, because today we're diving deep into a legal battle.
Oh, I love a good legal battle.
This one's a doozy, straight from the Philippines, where the stakes were high, the maneuvers were bold, and the outcome, well, let's just say, left its mark on the Philippine legal system.
I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
So, get this. The whole thing revolves around electricity, or to be exact, electric companies.
Okay.
2 of them, actually.
Right.
NEECO II and NEECO III.
Catchy names. I'm assuming they're both in Nueva, Ecija.
You got it. Both operating in the same area. Now, what makes this case so fascinating is how a simple sale blew up into this huge legal mess.
What kind of mess are we talking about?
Think corporate law, labor disputes.
Oh, boy.
All because someone didn't cross their T's and dot their I's, you know? It's a cautionary tale, really, about knowing the ins and outs of the legal system.
Yeah, those legal systems, they can be tricky.
No kidding. Okay, so rewind with me. All the way back to 1992. This is where it all begins. NEECO III gets dissolved.
Dissolved, like gone.
Gone out of business.
So what happens to all their stuff?
Huh.
Buildings, equipment, all that.
Exactly. You can't just leave that stuff lying around.
Right.
So in this case, the National Electrification Administration, NEA for short, they scooped up all those assets.
The government swoops in. Makes sense. So where does NEECO II come into the picture?
Hold your horses. We're getting there. Fast forward to 2004. NEECO III, they're looking to expand, and guess what? They get a franchise to operate in. You guessed it, NEECO III's old territory.
Talk about convenient timing.
Right. So in 2006, they make it official.
Let me guess. They bought the assets from the NEA.
Bingo. 300 million pesos, a hefty price tag.
That's a chunk of change.
Yeah.
Great purchaser.
There's the catch deed of conditional sale. Think of it like a mortgage, but for power lines and transformers.
Installment plan. Got it. So they get to use the assets, but don't fully own them yet.
You're catching on. This is where things get juicy. Picture this. 2013, 5 years later, a group of former NEECO III employees win this massive labor dispute case.
How massive are we talking?
83 million pesos. That's what they were owed in back pay and benefits.
Okay, so now the plot thickens. We've got unpaid employees and a company that thinks they've got it made.
And the employees. They wanted their money. So they slapped a notice of levy and sale on NEECO III's assets to get those 83 million pesos back. Problem is, those assets, NEECO, they thought those were as good as theirs.
Oh boy, here we go. I bet they weren't too happy about that.
You can say that again. NEECO II cried foul. They said they were innocent purchasers, bought those assets fair and square.
And that's where the legal battle really heats up.
You bet. NEECO II, they weren't backing down. They decided to fight fire with fire and filed something called a petition for declaratory relief.
Okay, hold on. Declaratory relief. That's a new one. Break it down for me.
Think of it like this. Imagine you're playing chess, right?
Okay, I'm with you.
And you're about to lose.
The worst feeling.
So, instead of admitting defeat, you ask your opponent to call it a draw.
A sneaky move.
That's essentially what NEECO II was trying to do. They wanted the court to just declare that the assets were theirs, hands off, case closed, end of story. They argued that this old labor dispute shouldn't affect their purchase.
So they're trying to wash their hands of the whole thing, just erase the past.
Exactly. And get this, they even claim that because those assets used to belong to the government, they should be considered public funds.
Public funds.
You know, untouchable, off limits, can't touch this.
Clever. So they were building a legal fortress using that public funds argument as their shield.
So it's a real standoff.
Sounds like it.
You've got the employees saying, hey, we're owed this money.
Right.
And NEECO II's waving that purchase agreement like a shield saying, nope, all ours.
Classic legal showdown.
Okay.
So what happens next? Do they settle out of court?
Not a chance. This one's headed straight for the courtroom. First stop, the Regional Trial Court, the RTC.
Okay, so the local court. What do they think about all this public funds business?
Well, get this. The RTC actually sided with NEECO II.
Really? No way.
You bet. They bought the public funds argument hook, line, and sinker.
Hold on. So that's it. Case closed. NEECO II wins.
Not so fast. This is just round one, my friend. Remember the former employees, led by WILFREDO PALMA?
Right, the ones who were owed all that money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They weren't about to give up that easily.
So what do? Appeal.
Bingo. They took the case up the ladder, straight to the Court of Appeals, hoping for a different outcome.
Gutsy move. I mean, going against a lower court's decision, that takes guts.
And this is where things take a turn. The Court of Appeals, they completely overturned the RTC's decision.
Whoa. A complete 180.
You could say that again. The Court of Appeals sided with the employees.
Okay, I did not see that coming. What was their reasoning? Why such a drastic change?
Well, essentially, they said the RTC had no business sticking its nose into a labor dispute.
Jurisdiction issues.
Thanks, Pete.
Right. Like you wouldn't take a speeding ticket to family court.
Exactly. Different courts for different matters.
The Court of Appeals basically put the RTC in its place, saying, hey, you're a civil court, not a labor court. This whole thing needs to be sorted out in the right place.
So they shut down that whole public funds defense pretty quickly. Yeah, they weren't buying it. The Court of Appeals said NEECO II's claims about being innocent purchasers and all that public fund stuff that needed a real trial with evidence and everything.
They needed to back up their claims, not just talk a big game.
Exactly. Seems like NEECO II tried to take a shortcut, and the Court of Appeals called them out on it.
And sent them right back to square one. So what's next? Where do you go after the Court of Appeals?
Well, in the Philippines, there's only one place higher to go.
Uh-oh, this is getting serious. You're talking
It's
about
in the Supreme Court.
Wow, they took it all the way to the top.
That's right, the final word in Philippine law.
I can't wait to hear what happened next.
The Supreme Court. The big leagues.
The highest court in the land.
This is where the fight of our electric company's showdown hangs in the balance. What did they have to say about this whole tangled mess?
Well, get this.
Okay.
The Supreme Court decided to uphold the Court of Appeals decision.
No way.
Yeah, they shut down NEECO II's petition completely.
Wow, so it's over. The employees win.
It's over, all right.
What a wild ride.
But it's the why that's really interesting.
Okay, I'm listening.
The Supreme Court basically said that NEECO II took a wrong turn way back when.
You mean with that whole petition for declaratory relief thing?
Exactly. They said that was not the way to handle this situation at all.
So what, they should have just, paid the employees back in 2013 and called it a day?
Well, it's a bit more complicated than that, but you're getting the idea.
Okay.
The Supreme Court said NEECO II should have explored other legal avenues, specifically within the labor case itself.
Huh, interesting. So they could have fought back, but in a different way.
Precisely. There's this thing called a third-party claim.
A third what now?
Third-party claim. It lets you say, hey, that stuff you're trying to take, it's actually mine.
Oh, like finders keepers, but legal.
Kind of. But it has to be done in the right way, within the right case. Had NEECO II done that, who knows what might have happened.
Hindsight is 20/20, I guess.
You could say that again.
But wait, hold on a sec.
What is it?
What about that missing document? The deed of conditional sale, that was their whole argument, right?
Ah, yes. The missing deed. This is where the case goes from legal battle to cautionary tale. Remember how NEECO II kept saying they were innocent purchasers and bought everything fair and square?
Yeah.
Well, you'd think they would have, shown the court the actual proof of purchase.
Wait, are you saying?
Throughout that whole legal circus, they never actually submitted a copy of the deed to the courts.
You're kidding me. They staked their entire case on this document, and they never even showed it to the judges.
Not once.
Mm.
In the Supreme Court, they noticed. They even called NEECO II out on it in their decision, saying that without the deed, they couldn't properly assess the agreement at all.
Talk about an epic fail. To think that a multi-million-dollar case could hinge on a single missing document.
It just goes to show due diligence is no joke. It's not enough to be right. You got to prove it with bills on.
So what's the takeaway here? What should we, the listeners, be taking from this electrifying legal saga?
Well, for one, legal battles. They're a marathon, not a sprint. You need a solid strategy, a good lawyer, and all your ducks in a row.
Check, Chip.
And two, never underestimate the power of details. A single document, even a tiny detail, can make or break your case.
It's like they say, the devil is in the details.
Exactly. This case is a masterclass in what not to do.
So the next time you're about to sign something important, remember NEECO II and that missing deed.
Do your homework. Read the fine print. And for goodness sake, hold on to those important documents.
Words to live by. This case has been a wild ride. Corporate intrigue, legal drama, a missing document. What more could you ask for? Thanks for joining us for another deep dive where we unpack complex legal cases and try to make sense of it all.
It's been a pleasure as always.
Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.